Hey guys, my name is Timio, and today we've learned that Ubisoft is going to be making some pretty big changes to Rainbow Six Siege, and one of the big ones is that Kapkan is getting an upgrade. So first of all, he is now going to become a 2-2 operator, so 2 armor, 2 speed. This is a change that a lot of people have been hoping for basically forever now. One of the big weaknesses with Kapkan is that he's very, very slow in his current state. If you want to place down your traps all over the map, and also reinforce the walls and place down your barbed wire, it's really difficult to do that just because he is so slow. And so with this change, this is going to be a nice quality of life improvement, and honestly, this alone would have been a great step in the right direction to make him a much more viable operator. Now, one thing I was not expecting Ubisoft to change is that his gadget is no longer going to have the red laser sight on it. When you initially place it on a doorway or a window, it will show up, but then after a split second, it disappears right in front of your eyes, making it much more difficult for the enemy to spot these things when they're roaming around the map. On top of that, if that wasn't enough, they're also giving him 5 of these gadgets up from 3. Now, some of you are probably thinking right now, wait a second, this sounds completely overpowered. If it's now harder to spot, he now has 5 of them, how in the world is offense going to be able to get anywhere near the objective without getting taken out by his gadgets? Well, it seems like Ubisoft agrees with you on this one, because it can no longer instantly take out an enemy, it can now only do 40 damage when it goes off. Now, I understand why Ubisoft is going in this direction, because the way that they had it before, it's really difficult to make him a well-balanced operator. If you make his gadget really hard to detect, but also have that one-shot potential, well, that's going to seem a little bit game-breaking and really frustrating when you're on the receiving end. This is a FPS at the end of the day. You want to have those firefights going on, and if all of a sudden you immediately get taken out of seemingly nowhere because of an invisible trap, that's not going to make for a satisfying gameplay experience. On the other side, though, if you make it too obvious, clearly no one's going to get trapped by this, no one's going to fall for it, and that's kind of the current predicament that Kapkan's in right now. And so by moving in this direction, I'm assuming what Ubisoft is trying to accomplish with these changes is to ensure that his gadget finally has some presence and an impact on the match. Sure, the days where you get a lucky one shot where you take out the enemy from 100% to 0 might be over, but he's now going to be doing damage with his gadget more reliably. If offense is slowly getting taken out by these things, little by little, by the time they actually reach the objective, they're at like 20 HP or something like that, and you're going to have a massive advantage against them. I think that's kind of what Ubisoft is going for. Now, as you guys can probably imagine, this doesn't sit well with some players. Some of you might not be thrilled by this, and some of the critiques I've heard is that this ruins the identity of Kapkan, and it's going to actually make him worse. He's now going to be less viable because of these changes. Now, I can absolutely see where people are coming from with the identity of Kapkan. This now makes him very similar to the other trap operators that were just introduced. What's going to really distinguish him from Lesion and Ela? I mean, yes, he's doing damage, but it's now more of a proximity alarm. Like, you're going to hear this thing go off, you're going to know that the enemy's over there, and instead of slowing down their movement like Lesion does, or disorient them like Ela, it's going to do damage, but it's all about letting the defensive team know where they're coming from. I can absolutely see this criticism. These trap operators are becoming more and more similar, and this does kind of eliminate that uniqueness that Kapkan was all about. Now, as for the criticism that he's now going to be less effective, I completely disagree with that, and honestly, I think it's going to be a significant upgrade. Everyone's saying that because he's no longer going to be able to one-shot people, that's going to be a nerf. No one's getting one-shotted by Kapkan anyways. No one's falling for his trap. It's too obvious. And so yeah, those days might be over, but his gadget is now actually going to do something for the defensive team. It's not going to just slightly slow down the progress of the enemy. It's actually going to have some sort of impact. Now, the one concern I do have with these changes, though, is that this might make fighting an offense even more of a nightmare than it already is. We now have to deal with 5 Kapkan traps, 7 Lesion goo mines, 4 of Ela's gadgets, and then frost traps scattered around everywhere. If defense really wants to slow down your progress, it is going to be ridiculous to get anywhere near that objective. And so I don't know if this is exactly the direction I wanted Rainbow Six Siege to go. I mean, yeah, it makes Kapkan more viable, but if they keep introducing more traps in the game that are very hard to detect, yes, operators like IQ get a little bit of an upgrade, Thatcher becomes more viable, but we just don't have a lot of ways to deal with these traps right now, other than a select few. and it's just going to really slow it down, almost to the point where it's just going to be obnoxious to fight these operators in offense. Another operator that's seen an upgrade is Blitz. So true to his name, he's now going to be able to actually blitz the enemy, where when he sprints, he keeps his shield directly in front of him. This is now going to give him significantly more movement around the map. They're not changing his armor. He's still 3 armor, so he's still going to be a tank. He's still going to move slowly when he's not sprinting, but he can now get in your face and really catch the enemy by surprise. When I was playing briefly on the TTS and fighting against this guy, I saw Blitz. I was like, okay, he's a fair distance away. I don't have to worry. And then all of a sudden, he just charged out of me out of nowhere. And it was terrifying. He got in my face, he got right into that range where he could flash me. I was completely blinded and I had no way of retaliating, and he was able to quickly take me down. I have a suspicion that Blitz mains, the few of you that are out there, are gonna love this change because it makes Blitz finally that offensive shield that he's supposed to be. Like he's supposed to fit that role. Monty is more defensive. He's got that gigantic shield to block all of that damage. Well, Blitz is supposed to get in their face. He's supposed to be much more aggressive, and he's now finally gonna have that capability. It's hard to say if this is now going to make him a viable operator. I don't think that all of a sudden he's going to be a must pick. I could be wrong. But it is going to make him significantly better. Like, already playing on the TTS for the couple of rounds, he's scary. Like, in the right hands, in the right situation, if the Blitz knows what they're doing, they're going to be able to really catch you off guard, and that might be the thing that finally makes him a shield operator worth playing, which I know a lot of people have been hoping for. The next big change that Ubisoft is going to be making is that every single one of the weapons is now going to have a predictable recoil pattern. For example, if you're using the SMG-11, it's now going to look like this. If you're using Buck's assault rifle, it's now going to do this weird thing every single time. Now, there's a lot of benefits to this system. First of all, it's now going to solve the problem where they no longer have the misalignment issue where your bullets are not lining up or going exactly where you're aiming. They give a short little video to demonstrate this. There's the before, which is the system that we have right now, and then the after, which is the new recoil patterns. You'll notice on the left that your bullets and your crosshair are not lining up exactly. There's some slight deviation there, and this can attribute to a lot of the problems where it looks like you aim directly at the enemy's head, but of course you didn't get the headshot. It's because of this misalignment. And so by moving on over to this new predictable recoil system, we should no longer have these issues. Where you point is exactly where your bullet's gonna land, and we're no longer gonna have these inconsistencies. The other potential benefit, which also some people are saying is a bad thing, is that this will allow people to really master and learn specific weapons. You're gonna be able to know exactly how the weapon performs every single time that you use it, and so potentially you could go full auto and have your bullets land exactly where you want them to go every single time. And so for anyone that wants to get really good with certain operators, you want to get really good managing the recoil, this system is going to be amazing for you. Like, you're going to have something to learn, you're going to have something to strive for and improve every single time that you play the game with each and every single one of the operators. On the other side of the coin, though, this means that there's even more to learn in Siege, and it could turn people away from even getting involved to begin with. If you now need to learn all the maps, all the callouts, you need to learn all the different nuances between all the operators, and you now need to know the recoil patterns, that might get a bit too much for some people. Now, one thing I like the way they're handling is that weapons are going to be classified or divided into certain families of recoil patterns. For example, the SMG-11 is going to have this zigzag pattern. The Vector has that same pattern as well. And so if you master the Vector, that means that you probably mastered the SMG-11. Now, there will be slight variations between them. They're not completely identical. There is some uniqueness there, but once you learn them, you're gonna have a general idea of how those family of recoil patterns work and how to compensate for them. Essentially, what Ubisoft is going for is that criticism that we talked about earlier, where things are going to get crazy if you have to learn every single unique recoil pattern. This is going to make it more manageable. If you balance between the SMG-11 and the Vector, you're going to feel right at home. And then if you bounce on over to, let's say, the Commando and the AK-12, while there'll be slight variations, when you master one of them, you're going to feel very comfortable with the other, making it much more manageable. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's update. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about all these changes. Are you excited about the Kapkan buff? Can you not wait for that change to go live? Are you looking forward to the recoil changes? Do you think that's a bad direction for Rainbow Six Siege? I know a lot of people think that this is going to be the worst thing that happens, but a lot of people were also saying that about the 4-minute timer being dropped to 3-minute timer for ranked, and honestly, that was the best change that happened to Siege, at least in my opinion. Like, I love that change, and so it's difficult to say. And so let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed, and until tomorrow, have a good one, and take it easy.